Well, you know how one of the things these people do is they try to get you fixated on things. So, I've mentioned the last few times I've woke up and there's been a water engineer going past. Now they parked 7 ton water van outside. This is something you'll see a lot as a TI. There will be utility vehicles of all companies parked outside where you are. I won't say where I live because this isn't my house, but wherever you are, there will be vehicles like this. In my experience anyway, you'll see them a lot. So, I know this is talking because the last 2 times I woke up a while ago, there was one of these engineers walking past down there where the bus stop is. I'm only going to be here 2 more nights anyway. Not had a good few days with my family, so I'm going back. Been targeting me. That's why I'll have a discussion about that now, since we can see I've been spraying again. I've only just woke up, but yeah, came to a head last night pretty much. I didn't bring it to a head, they did. So basically, I banged my head and swore, and my mother started having a go at me about that. So I had an argument about that because apparently in her world, when you bang your head and it's really hurting, you shouldn't get angry about it or swear about it. After that, they start honking outside, so I was like, go on faggot, go on. And then my mother heard that, so she said, right, you're going back. Got these. See the bag and that. Got those so that all my stuff's ready for going home. I'm not bothered. I'm ready. I've had enough. I've had enough of the bullshit because they've been targeting me. They've been, doing the hand signals. Last night, not so much my mother this time, but my father. As soon as he came back, my mum told him what happened. He started targeting me with the hand signals, the fake cough. As he was talking, he was going like that. So it came to a head where he was doing the hand signal. I just said, stop doing that. I know what you're doing. And he like, what? I was like, going like all this with your hands and everything. Didn't deny it. He didn't say, what are you talking like? It was just like, ugh, like that. And then my mother was like, oh, you don't think that. I was like, I don't know. But I was like, you think you're smart with it, but I see what you're doing. So, I'm going because I guess they feel like they can target me. And I know confronting them on it is going to get nowhere because, they don't even acknowledge that this is going on. Even though they've seen it countless times, they don't acknowledge it's going on. They're like, oh, all the stuff you're describing is normal. Right, apparently. So apparently it's normal. But, yeah. So, I'm going home Sunday. But yeah, they've done. It's funny because when this when I first came over, they weren't doing this, which that to me tells me that they are knowing what they're doing, because when things seemed more serious, and in the first stages of this lockdown where we didn't know what was going on, it was like they stopped targeting me, because I guess they, that group survival mentality was kicking in. They weren't targeting me, they weren't doing the hand signals, they weren't doing the coughing. And then these last 3 weeks, as things tended to seem to ease, they started again. Firstly, my mother, then my father. And this isn't something new, because I've been being targeted on and off by my parents for about a year now. And there's been even cases in the past where, for a few years ago, where I felt like I've been targeted. So, yeah. Well, that's, I don't know what they've done to get them involved, but the thing that gets me is my mother was crying, like she was upset, but she's been targeting me, so why cry like that, but then you've been targeting me? Because I guess they're feeling upset about me going and all that. Because when they said you're gonna go, I was like, fine, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. That's what I said. I said I don't give a fuck. I'll go. I'm not bothered. So but it's ridiculous. They were targeting me with the coughing. My mother actually yesterday, somewhat, and my father targeting me with the coughing. When my father was talking to me, he was doing the coughing, and then he started doing the hand signals. So, you know, that's the shit they've been doing. So I'm going back Sunday. Probably when this is uploaded, I will be home. And also, if the lockdown does come back, I'm not going to be staying here again. No, I'm not having to put up with being targeted. There could be a nuclear war coming. I'm not going to stay with them again. So, you know, if if that's how it is, if you target me, you're gonna get cut off. You know, not entirely with my family, but I'm not gonna be doing this again. They somehow feel like they can target me and then live a happy, normal life or whatever. That's what it feels like. It's just ridiculous. It's a fucked up situation. Um, Probably one of the worst situations you could be in, besides your family being killed or something, is your family targeting you or turning on, because basically this is betrayal of the they must be mentally ill, because to do this kind of thing and then act like everything's normal, you've got to be mentally ill. It's like they got two personalities. It's just weird, but I don't know, it's just weird. But a lot of times it's almost like they try to blame me for what this program is doing to me. Like they were complaining to me yesterday, oh, you get so angry when, you know, it's like, I'm telling you why. Because I've been subjected to this program for going on 6 years. Alright? Probably longer than that, because that's just the time I've known what's going on. But they don't listen. They don't take my word for it, even though they've seen it themselves. They're like, oh, we don't think that's what's happening. But if you don't listen to what I'm saying, or agree with what I'm saying, or even consider what I'm saying is, well, you don't have to agree, but to consider what I'm saying is happening, you know, then, because what I'm saying is happening, it's possible, right? It's not, no one can say, it's not like I'm saying, you know, cats with laser guns are shooting at me. I'm telling you things that are possible, and there's a history of. There's a history of these types of abuses in government, of mind control projects, of directed, well, not directed energy, but, you know, but there's more of a history of the mind control, the human experimentation, right, and the abuse of, you know, the abuse, funny how all the power tools are started up, right? The abuse of people from the government for experimentation purposes. Yet they won't believe me. They don't even consider it. My dad's like, oh, I don't, you know. Yet at the same time, it's like they're trying to blame me for the effect that going through that has, because it does make you short-tempered, and it does affect you. So it's almost like you're being blamed for what, for the effects of, that's how it feels anyway. It feels like I'm being blamed for the effects of what this stuff is doing. Yeah, all my stuff's here. I'll be going back. Well, I will be back by the time this is uploaded. So, you know, it's what we have to do, even if it's family. If family are targeting us, we can't let them think just because they're family that they can do this. Because, you know, it's just not on. But you know, the reason I think it's deliberate, it's like they weren't doing that around the start of the lockdown for the first 2 months. This wasn't happening. I even remember mentioning it, saying they've not been targeting me. Because before, when I used to see them, they'd target me. But now, I guess because they feel more comfortable and that there's less danger. It's like, you know, you're in a survival situation, the only thing you're concentrating on is the survival situation, right? Now that's seemingly over for now. It's like back to normal. Same with these perks, right? When the lockdown was on, there was very little targeting, very little, right? Now, because you know the lockdown's been relaxed somewhat, the targeting's stepping up. They're going past honking horns. You know, I'm seeing a lot more perps outside. All of this stuff. So, you know, but to anyone that's a parent and your son or daughter comes to you and says they're being gang stalked, they're being subjected to this stuff, and you ignore them, this is what can happen. Alright? So you should never ignore someone when they're telling you that they're being. Pardon me, that was legitimate because my throat went. That they've been subjected to, they've been chemtrailing, so you already know. You know, every time they chemtrail, my throat goes like this. You can probably hear it on my voice, that grogginess. Like I've smoked a cigarette. That's what it's like when they do this. But if you're, you know, a parent and you're letting sorry, not letting, but if you're not listening to what they're saying, and you just, especially if you participate in this, there's nothing positive that will come out of this. You'll lose your son or daughter. Either they'll cut you off, very least they'll talk to you, but they won't, you know, be that bond, family bond anymore. And in some cases, they may kill themselves, or they may even kill you. Not for the record, that's something I would never do. But there's cases of children that have killed their parents, you know? Of course, they label them as crazy, but now I can see why. I can see what would lead someone to possibly do that. If you're being targeted by your own family, it's the ultimate betrayal, because these are people that you're supposed to trust, that have raised you, that you're supposed to be able to talk to about your, and that's what I can't do. Right? I can't talk to them about my problems because they don't want to hear it, and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to talk about it." So this is what I get all the time from them. I don't want to talk about it. Oh, stop talking about it. They act like they want me to pretend it's not happening. That's basically, I've seen a lot of